So today I taught a lesson. It was actually a formal observation lesson. And of course, I did not go by my own script, but a lesson to introduce the Four Freedoms speech by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So, those of you who are familiar, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was our president for 4 terms. And after 16 years of serving our country, um, he was the bar from which Congress decided we did not need to have a president for 16 years ever again. And because of that, we now have a two-term president max. So they can serve for 8 consecutive years, or like our current administration, they can serve for 4, not serve for 4, and then be re-elected for a second term with a break in between. But they cannot have a third term or a fourth term or anything like that ever again. And so when I was teaching my class, I gave background knowledge. And in that background knowledge, I explained that Franklin Roosevelt was a wartime president and a peacetime president, and he was a president kind of in between, right? Between the First World War and during the Second World War. And I gave context that he was of a generation that didn't know the Civil War intimately. They were born and raised during Reconstruction and kind of a period of time in our nation where we were trying to not be divided anymore. And my students didn't really know what Reconstruction meant. So we talked about a little bit about the Civil War and how to some Americans, the Civil War was a war that was fought over states' rights. And to other Americans, it was a war that was really about whether or not people could own people. And so we went on a tangent and talked about, can people own people? Of course not. And how that existence in that world at that time would influence how people view the world and view their place in the world. And so, in that place, in that time, and to those people, Franklin Roosevelt represented hope. He was the president at a time where people were really inspired by this idea of a chicken in every pot. And my students in my class, some of whom experience homelessness or have experienced homelessness, some of whom had experienced um, housing instability. Not, I said housing instability just a second ago. I'm distracted because my toddlers are